Hey class, this is Mrs. Sorrells. Today we're going to be learning about proportions. You do not have a handout for us today, so what we're going to need you to do is get out a sheet of paper and we're going to take these notes on notebook paper, and then we will stamp these tomorrow in class as you have completed it. Okay, so anything I'm writing I need you to write as well so that you can have it down on the paper. Okay, first thing you need to have is this is video 5.2, and we are covering what is called proportions. Okay, again, I might go a little bit quick, so this video you might want to be doing some pausing so that you can get caught up on the writing while I'm explaining. Okay, so the first thing, we're just going to do some bullet points about proportions. A proportion is two equivalent, which means equal, ratios. And we've just learned about ratios, and all a ratio is a comparison between two items or two different items. And so we are going to take that ratio and either scale it up or scale down. We scale the ratio up or down to create a proportion. Okay, and proportion might be a new word for you. I have something to help remember. Really, you are trying to put things in the correct portion. You don't want to change the size, and we know that when we're scaling things up, we're not changing the size, we're just keeping it equal, but we are representing it with larger numbers. So you want to put items in correct portions. And if you don't know what portions means, think about food and your portion size of your meal. You have really big meals, really small meals. Those are portions, sizes. Okay. The other thing is that these are like cause and effect word problems. Okay, so bring in some ELA in here. They give you a statement, and then they're going to ask you what if, or what if this happened, or if this occurred, what would this. It's always there's something missing in each of the problems. Okay, so you're given a statement, but then the second half, something is missing, and that's what our job is to find it out. Something is missing. All right, enough of talking. Here we are. We're going to go and we are going to go through some examples. Okay, again, write these with me. I know that they're word problems, but we still need you to have these, okay? So let's say, oops. Here we go, figured it out. Okay. Let's do an example. Okay, so let's say that 2 out of 5 students bring their lunch to school. There we go. Okay. If there are 600 students, how many people or students would bring their lunch? Okay, we're going to find the statement. And then we're going to find out, I'm going to show you how we're going to set this up. It's called a WGU chart. Okay, let's look at The statement is going to be this first part right here. It tells you that 2 out of 5 students bring their lunch. That is a fact, okay? This is our first part that we've identified. That's the statement. Okay, the what if part is that if there are 600 students, how many students would bring their lunch? That's our job to figure out how many students would bring lunch based on the ratio of 2 out of 5, okay? So here's what a WGU chart looks like. Got the W at the top, the G, and a U. Okay, you're going to make it, whoa, kind of like a tick. Okay, we've got to erase that. That's horrible. There we go. Okay, let's start over. Okay. That's better. Okay. There we go. Okay, and in each part, this W stands for words. What it is it's talking about. This is what is given to us, or the statement, and the U stands for unknown. We're trying to figure something out. Okay. All right, let's look at our statement. Our statement said 2 out of 5 students bring their lunch. So that is what was given to us, 2 out of 5. But then we need the words. The words is just labeling. So what is 2 talking about? Well, it's 2 students bring their lunch. So let's put bring lunch. And then out of 5. That word's out of 5 means all of the students. So that's all students. Okay? We're labeling what each number means. The 2 stands for students that bring their lunch, and the 5 is how many students there are together. Here's where the U comes in. If there are 600 students total, how many students would bring their lunch? So you need to line it up with this one down here. All students. They're not telling us that 600 bring lunch. They're telling us 600 together. So you're going to put the 600, you're going to line it up with this column down here, or this row of all students, and here's what we have. This is all the info we've been given, and our question says how many students would bring their lunch. This is the first time you're seeing a letter. This is what's called a variable. Okay? I'm going to write it out. It means we don't know this. We are trying to find this. This is what we're solving for. Okay? Now, if you look at this, this is really, I'm going to come over here. This is really, can be written as fractions, equivalent fractions, because they're equivalent ratios. We've got to ask ourselves, how do we get from 5 to 600? How do we fill in the blank? Well, we know we're going to multiply because it's increasing. It's going from 5 to 600. And you might not know off the top of your head how many times 5 goes into 600, so here's your tool. Do 600 divided by 5. Work backwards. Okay, 5 goes into 6 one time. Remainder of 1. Bring the 0 down. 5 goes in there. Okay, 120. So you're going to multiply by 120. That means you do the same up here because we're scaling it up. It's got to be equal. 120 times 2, 240. So what that means is 240 students would bring their lunch if there were 600 students in all. Okay? Let's go and look at another example so that we can work on this a little bit more. Okay? Let's do this. There are 3 cats for every 8 dogs in North Richland Hills. I'm going to abbreviate NRH. Okay? If this is true, there's our if, cause and effect, for all cities, and Hearst, which is another city, has 240 cats, how many dogs would there be? Okay, let's identify our statement. Our statement is that there are 3 cats for every 8 dogs. That's our ratio. Okay, and then our what if is that if this is true for all cities and Hearst has 240 cats, how many dogs would there be? So we're trying to figure out how many dogs in Hearst. Okay, we're going to set up a WGU chart. Again, we're always going to use this. Okay, the W stands for words, the G stands for what's been given to us, and the U stands for unknown. Okay. All right, let's look at our statement. There are 3 cats for every 8 dogs. 3 to 8 is our ratio. Let's talk about what 3 is. 3 stands for cats. 8 stands for dogs. So all we've done is label. Then the question says, if this is true for all cities and Hearst has 240 cats, how many dogs would there be? So we've got to go, they've told us the number of cats, so we're going to have to go to the cats row and put 240 there. We can't put 240 down here, that would mean 240 dogs. They have told us 240 cats. And then the question says, how many dogs would there be? Well, we don't know, so we're going to put that variable there, that letter, which stands for I don't know. That's what we're solving for. Okay? So, you're looking, you've got 3 to 8 over 240 over x. I don't have both denominators, so I need to look at the numerators because both the numerators have been given. So again, I've got to go from 3 to 240. I know I'm multiplying, but I don't know what by. Okay, so let's go down here and let's do 240 divided by 3. Well, 3 doesn't go into 2. 3 goes into 24 8 times, and that's even. And then 3 doesn't go into 0, so it's just 80. And then 0 times 3 is 0, okay? And so you've got right here, oh, wrong. Oop, I made a mistake. That is what you don't do. Okay, that is just our multiplier. That is not our answer. And I just made a mistake that's very common. You've got to follow through the whole problem, and you've got to make sure you don't stop there. The answer's not 80. All that means is we're multiplying by 80. Then you have to do 80 times 8. Okay? And I'm going to go right here, squeeze it in. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 8 is 64. So there would be 640 dogs. Let's see if this makes sense. Well, 3 cats, 8 dogs. Cats is less than dogs, so cats is going to have to be less than dogs here, and it is. So we know we're at least in the right direction because 240 is less than 640. If I put the 80 down here like I tried to do earlier, that would not make sense because the dogs would be smaller than the cats. Okay? Always check and make sure your answer makes sense in what you're doing. All right. We are going to do one more example. Okay. We're going to talk about unit rates. Unit rates is the amount per one item. You want only one. Okay. Pick a different color. Here's an example. This happens quite often. This is like trying to figure out what's the better deal. Which one am I going to buy? Okay. So there's like candy bars are sold for 26 of them for $2. Okay. We want to find out how many candy bars I can get for just $1. Okay? So let's say you only have $1. Well, let's use our WGU again. WGUs can be used for a lot. Remember, all it is, again, is labeling. So let's see what's been given to us. Our statement is that there are 26 candy bars sold for $2. So 26 to 2. All right, what is 26 talking about? Candy bars. What is 2 talking about? Well, that's just the amount, the money. Okay? We've also been told we want to find out how many candy bars for $1. The dollar's not going to go up by the candy bars. The dollar's going to go with the money. Okay? So we want to find the cost for $1. We've been given both of these denominators, so I've got to use these numbers down here to figure out what I'm going to scale up or down by. Well, I can see I'm going from 2 to 1, so it's got to be less than. I've got to divide by something. Now, what am I going to divide by? Well, I'll divide by 2, and you have to do the same up here. 26 divided by 2 is 13. You could get 13 candy bars for $1. That's a deal. I want to go to that store. All right. But what then if they ask a question? Whoa, sorry. What if they ask a question like, how many can I get?
Please pardon this
For
interruption.
$5.
All 8th grade students should be with their
We'll pause too.
tour leader at this time. Please take attendance and send that up to Mrs. Burrows. Thank you.
If that didn't make you feel like you're in school, I don't know what will. Here we go. So let's just say how many for $5. Well, you would want to find the cost of how much for $1. Once I know how many candy bars I can get for $1, I can figure out how much candy bars I can get for any amount. Because here's what I'll do. If I get 13 candy bars for $1, all I'm going to do is multiply that by 5. I'm going to multiply those 13 candy bars times 5, and I get 65 candy bars. Okay, that's the value of being able to find unit rate, or just the amount or the cost for one item. So that then you can answer other questions like, well, what if I have $10 today? How many candy bars could I get? Or what if I have $50? That would be a ton of candy bars. Okay, so you want to be able to find unit rates for anything as well. I think that is all I have for today. It is. Well, you still need to go and do the Google Doc. You've got 5 questions you need to answer. I know that this was longer and a little bit different, so I appreciate you hanging in there with us today and cooperating and bringing these for us tomorrow. You'll get a stamp if you've got all this down. If you need to rewind and listen to it just so that you can concentrate on the info and not so much copying, that would be wonderful. You will need to know this. We're going to apply this tomorrow in class. Okay, so do the Google Doc and bring these notes. Thank y'all. You have a good night.